Walton. Lee Walton.
This is a story about another international emergency story about me when I went to Russia to study acting, and I was also very young and did not do a whole lot of drinking until I went to Russia. And then you go to Russia and pretty much it's the same thing that you were saying about like the legal or the not legal, the legal or the safe, and that was the way it was with like the vodka, where there was like the legal vodka or there was like the cheap vodka. And we often like went with the cheap vodka, which was pretty much rubbing alcohol, but nonetheless, you needed that when you were taking acting classes in Russia because they were very, very, very strict. The singing teacher that I had would punch me in the stomach, and seconds later would like put candies in my mouth and be like, "Девушка, это очень хорошо." And I'd be like, "I don't know what's going on." And like the dance teachers would hit us, and they're like, 3 seats. And we're like, "We don't even know what you're saying. I can't do it." And I had a movement teacher who was so mean. I mean, I think I look okay, but I remember having a really hard time like doing one of these positions, and I said to him like, "I don't really know what I'm doing wrong, like this acrobatic thing," and he was like, "Oh, Leochka, the problem is you have a lot of, how do you say, mass." Mass? I have a lot of mass? That's you, buddy. So anyway, so this is like how this kind of like this whole semester went. And then it was like our final day, or final few days, and we had something that we called firing squad day, which was more or less that. And we would like sit in a room with all the teachers, and these are teachers who like hit you and said you were fat, and like, and they would like tell you about like what they thought of your performances of the semester. So it was like full of like great compliments. They had many wonderful things to say. So just before firing squad day, we had like our final performance, and we performed for like all the other students at the Moscow Art Theater, and it was so great. We were so happy. And then we went over to this gypsy restaurant, and we drank lots and lots of cheap, not legal vodka, and we got very happy and sick. And the great thing about the subway there is like it doesn't close until like really, really late. But it was really, really late, and we could not get back into our dorm because they would lock the dorm, and you had to bribe the dorm at the dorm. It's Moscow, okay? Like, just go with me. It was impossible to get back home. So we knew a friend of a friend who had an apartment, and we were like, "This is gonna be great. We're gonna get a cab, and we're gonna go to their place. We're gonna sober up, and then we're gonna go back to firing squad day. It's gonna be amazing." So we all like found cabs, which are just cars, people that you just wave on the street, that you don't, and then they're like, "We'll give you a ride somewhere." So they gave us this ride to like the edge of Moscow, and we went to this woman's house, and we sat there for hours blowing on hot water because our teachers told us we couldn't drink Russian water because we were American and we would get sick, which was probably just a joke they played on us. So we had to like boil the water first. So we literally like sat there with boiling water and being like, "We're gonna get sober in no time." Like blowing on this water. And finally I was like, "Fuck this. Like, I'm going back to the dorm. Like, they're going to let me in no matter what." And I have no idea how I did it, but I, like, walked my ass, like, across the steps of Moscow. Okay, so I just walked across Moscow to, like, get to the dorm. And, and I realized, like, oh, I don't have any money on me, and I want to buy some water. And I decided to go to one of those ATMs that you swipe at the bank, and then it lets you in, and you take the money out. So I did that, and I swiped the card, and I walked in, and I took the money out. And then I go to leave, but the door will not open. And I was like, "Okay, sober up, Walton. Like, open the door." And the door won't open. I was like, "Okay." And I'm like pushing the door, and it won't open. I'm pulling the door, and it won't open. And I'm like starting to panic now. Okay. And then I start knocking on the door. And I'm like, "Help! Someone help!" And like all the Russian that I learned, it is like gone. I'm like, "Может быть, help, пожалуйста, меня зовут Leah." my name is Leah, like, someone help me, please. And, like, people are standing and they just walk by, and I'm starting to cry now. And I see this red button, okay? That's, like, the clue not to push. And I push the red button, and the alarm goes off. And, like, alarm is going off in this bank in Russia. And then, like, this speaker and this voice is speaking to me, screaming at me, probably telling me that I have a lot of mass or something. And I'm like looking at you like, I don't speak Russian. I'm in the bag. I don't know what I'm doing. And finally, like, some fool comes along and just, like, swipes his card, and the door opens and lets me out, and I just, like, book. I'm out of here. And I just, like, made it, like, no sleep, no water to firing squad day. And I was kind of like, let me have it. Like survived your effing banks.